I made a video about Pokemon curries before where I actually tried to make a couple of them in real life, and it got me really craving to do more Pokemon recipes. I went to check if a Pokemon cookbook existed, and lo and behold, I got this one. Is this what I need to be a Pokemon master chef? Let's check out the Pokemon Cookbook. First impressions, I think this cookbook is super cute. I love me some Pokemon, so I'm immediately interested by all of these Pokemon looking dishes. Compared to the average cookbook, this one is a lot smaller in size and definitely a lot simpler in complexity. It's definitely targeted towards the young crowd, making sure that the recipes are easy to follow and not too complicated. The recipe pages have steps that are super simple to follow and only really require basic cooking techniques. They even have really helpful visual aids to further explain some of the steps. The ingredients that you'll need are very common items, and many of them are probably already in your pantry. I do like the cookbooks that have large photos of the food, but this one only has a few of those full page, full spread close-ups. What I like about this cookbook though is that every single dish has an accompanying photo, even if they're displayed smaller on the page. Thematically though, I expected some recipes to draw from Pokemon lore, but it doesn't at all. It would have been cool to see some food items from the games or even the anime replicated for real, but the main purpose of this book really is just to make food look like Pokemon, which I think is good in a different way, especially if you don't care about the backstories and you just want something that is instantly recognizable as Pokemon. To test drive these recipes, I picked out 3 interesting looking dishes and followed the recipes to the T. Let's see if this cookbook is as easy as it looks, or if it's going to be harder than I thought. Starting off with the Diglett Potato Field. The recipe calls for 2 large potatoes, but for me I used 6 medium ones. Normally I would boil these, but the book said to wrap them in paper towel and microwave them for 5 minutes, or until soft. While we're doing that, we're going to boil some water in a pan and cook some hot dogs. I used 6. I boiled these ones for 5 minutes also. Once the potatoes are done and they're nice and soft on the inside, just take them out of the microwave and cut them in half. And then I just sort of started stacking them on the plate to make a hill-like environment for the Diglets to pop out. And once the hot dogs are done, just start cutting them up into Diglett-sized pieces. For me, I just chose to make them as big as my thumb. And for the nose, you're gonna need some beans. I had some canned black beans that I chopped in half. Use a little bit of ketchup to use as the glue so that you can stick the nose on the Diglett. Use black sesame seeds for the eyes and adjust the face to your liking. When your Diglets are done, just attach them to the potatoes with a toothpick and voila, you have a Diglett field. I added some broccoli and some seaweed powder to mine just to make it look a little bit more grassy and more alive, but I really like how these turned out. Unfortunately, it's all downhill from here. Next up, the Pikachu Sushi. We're going to start off by making some scrambled eggs. The recipe calls for 3 eggs and it gives you the choice of cooking them in the microwave or the stovetop. I went with the stovetop version. The book doesn't tell you what consistency to look for, but you're going to want to make sure that it is spreadable. In another bowl, we're going to take some canned tuna with the liquid drained from the can and start mixing that up with a tablespoon of soy sauce and a tablespoon of sugar. When it's nice and flaky and mixed, you're going to microwave it for 2 minutes. And now we're going to make the ears. Lay some plastic wrap on the table and spread 1 heaping tablespoon of the scrambled eggs and spread it on the wrap. Then you're going to take a handful of cooked rice. This is Japanese short grain sticky rice that I made in the rice cooker. 2 cups rice, 2 cups water. Roll it up and shape it like it's Pikachu's ear and put it smack dab on that egg layer. Then take the plastic wrap and wrap that egg layer around the rice mixture. And that's going to help you even further shape the ear. And you're going to do this 2 times for both ears. And now we're going to make the face. So take a small bowl, line it up with some plastic wrap, take the remaining scrambled egg mixture and press it down on the bowl. Take some of the rice and press it down to create a layer of rice. Then take your tuna mixture and you're going to create a layer of tuna on top of the rice layer. And then top it up with another layer of rice. You're going to take that bowl and you're going to flip it over a plate, and then you're going to remove the bowl and the plastic wrap, and there you have Pikachu's circular face. Take the ears that you made and assemble them like so, And now you have the shape of Pikachu's head. Now we're going to add more detail, starting with the tip of the ears. I'm going to use some seaweed to wrap the very tips. But now comes the hard part. You're supposed to make the facial features by cutting out seaweed and carrots. The eyes and the cheeks are easy to do because they're circular and you can just use a small cookie cutter. But I was struggling mighty hard to cut out this mouth shape. Even with a sharp knife, I could not get the size and the curves exactly the way that I wanted. So what did I do? I eventually got fed up and decided to use thick balsamic vinegar to try to draw on the mouth. And look what happened. Sometimes shortcuts are not worth it. There's no way I can turn this into Pikachu, so I decided to turn it into Mimikyu instead. Halloween is just a couple of weeks away, so it's kind of appropriate. Slicing up Mimikyu and opening up to see the cross section, you can see that it's a little uneven how I did it, but it tasted pretty good. But things are about to go from bad to worse with the next dish, the Pokeball Gelatin. We're going to start off by soaking a teaspoon of gelatin in 2 tablespoons of water. Set that aside for now. Then we're going to make the red part of the Pokeball by taking strawberry jam and straining it so you don't get any of the hard pieces. You're going to add the strained jam and add it to the gelatin mixture. Add a teaspoon of lemon juice, a tablespoon of sugar, 1/3 cup of water. Then mix it up and microwave it for 30 seconds to 1 minute and stir the mixture until the gelatin is melted. For the white part of the Pokeball, you're going to take a 1/2 cup of plain yogurt, add 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of water, and add the other half of the gelatin mixture. Microwave that for 30 seconds to 1 minute and stir the mixture until the gelatin has melted. Then it says to put them in the fridge for 2 hours so that they can firm up. After that, you take them out of the fridge and you put them in some warm water to loosen up the jelly to make them a little bit easier to take out of the bowl. As you can see, my jelly did not set and that broke my heart. To me, playing with gelatin is kind of like a science, and man do I suck at science. It came out kind of okay and nice and circular at first, especially the white one, and I could definitely see how I could make it look like a Pokeball by cutting each half and putting it together. But when I tried to move the halves, the red ones just absolutely fell apart. It wasn't set enough. Sometimes we fail. So yeah, to me the Pokemon Cookbook is less about cooking and more about arts and crafts. Even though it's pretty fun to assemble the dishes and it feels super rewarding to see an insta-worthy dish at the end, I'd rather spend all those hours and hard work on something that would taste good rather than look good. I think these dishes are cute, but they are far from a gourmet experience. I highly recommend this for people who want to cook with kids, but for me, I just lack the patience to put these together. My rating for this cookbook is cute if you're not lazy, out of 10. Thanks for watching and see you at the next meal.